Welcome to Our Girl Relationships. We talk about the problems people face in their day to day lives. Let's start with the video. Honestly, I think somewhere in the back of my mind, I always knew my husband was a shallow man. But because I loved him, I chose to ignore a few of his flaws. I mean, a relationship is all about compromising, right? But now I'm at a place where I can no longer ignore his habits and don't know if I should keep on pretending to be happy with what I have. Am I being an a-hole here for lying and being in a sham of a marriage? Should I be upfront with my husband about my feelings? So, about a month ago, I found out that I was to be promoted as the head manager of the sales division at my company. That is honestly a really huge deal because it'll mean I wouldn't have to frequently head out in the field to carry operations and promote our product. I'll be finally able to get rid of overtime nights, and my bonus would not depend on the target I met in a particular business term. Now, usually, if you work really hard in sales and are able to bring in great deals, your salary for that month is guaranteed to be huge. But as a head manager of an entire division, my pay would not depend on the deals I'll bring in, and my bonus would be fixed every year, regardless of whether we made profits or not. So naturally, the post for me meant something I'd like to celebrate. That's why I decided to throw a promotion party and invite my friends and family. I spent a whole week planning everything for the party. I wanted this to be a surprise for my husband because me being promoted not only ensures me coming home early and getting to spend time with him, it also means we will be able to improve the quality of our life. We wouldn't have to worry about saving every single penny and cutting back on ordering chicken. We can just let loose and enjoy our lives. So I told everyone not to let my husband know about my promotion. But my husband is a very tenacious man and he knew I was hiding something. So he kept pestering me about it. I told him the party was nothing but a small get together because we rarely get time to socialize with our busy work life. Although after a while he gave up on asking me every few hours about it, he still kept trying to get information out of my family by casually calling them. But to my relief, no one rained on my parade. The day of the party, when everyone was gathered, I decided to throw a toast. I gathered everyone's attention and made the speech I had so carefully prepared. I finally announced my promotion to the room full of people I loved, and among them was my husband. His reaction was so funny to my reveal that I went ahead and gave him a hug. Although he unconsciously hugged me back, I could feel him being stiff and uncomfortable. I asked him what's wrong, and he forced out a smile, congratulating me. He said nothing is wrong, and he's just surprised that I didn't discuss this with him before taking up the promotion. I laughed at his comment and told him why would I need to discuss a great opportunity? It was an obvious choice for the both of us. He scowled a little and said, "We will talk about this after I've attended to my guests." Then he pulled me away from him and started clapping like a supportive husband in front of the guests who were waiting for me to open the champagne. My mood was a little spoiled, but I went on to play the part of the hostess. That night, after everyone had left, I asked my husband what was wrong with him. He told me he was just a little uncomfortable with me taking up a high paying position when we were comfortable in our previous lives. He said there was no need for me to be the person who brought in a larger piece of bacon into our home. That's when I knew what his fit was about. This man that I loved was having problems coming to terms with the fact that his woman is earning more than him. I laughed out a little at his pettiness. My mood was completely spoiled at that point, and all I did was tell him to wait in the living room as I grabbed something. I went to our bedroom and took out a few brochures. I went downstairs and handed the brochures to my husband and told him it was the gift I was going to give him. They were about a few properties I picked out that had their own driveway and a lawn. I told him I wanted to surprise him with it as we'd finally be able to move out of our two-bedroom apartment and live in a decent house. But I guess his man ego wouldn't be able to handle such luxuries. I told him that I have been nothing but a supportive wife to him. I ignored his excessive drinking with his work colleagues and his habit of screaming at labor workers without any reason. I put up with all his shortcomings because I thought his love for me was enough, and he was a man who knew how to handle a strong woman. But apparently, I was wrong. And that was it for me. If he can't control his petty feelings and is willing to spoil such an important moment of my life, I can't turn a blind eye anymore. I told him whether he wanted it or not, I was going to move into one of the houses on those brochures. If he is willing to grow a pair and change a little, I'd welcome him in my life, but if he continues to be this shallow, I am going to cut him out of my life. I told him this gift was supposed to be a happy thing, but now it's an ultimatum. He could either take it and change his narrow minded ways of thinking, or he could leave it all and get a divorce. This all happened 2 days ago, and my husband still hasn't given me his answer. I was feeling a little guilty about just throwing the choice in his face and not talking it out or trying to work things out. But now that almost 48 hours have gone by without him showing even a trace of regret over his actions, I think I did the right thing. But still, I wanted an outside opinion. Am I the a-hole here for not considering his feelings or thinking about his ego? Oh God, it's been 10 days since the party I threw, and my husband still hadn't given me his answers. With each passing day, I keep getting more and more frustrated, and I think I'm about ready to blow up. I've been trying very hard not to hold up to his face and demand an answer from him, but he keeps going about his daily routine like nothing happened. Sure, we don't talk as much, and there's an awkward air between us, but I don't think I should be the one to approach him first. He obviously knows the ball is in his court and still isn't doing anything about it. I'm starting to think I should just give up and leave. Finally, I got an answer from my husband. After a whole 3 weeks of not talking and walking on eggshells around each other, he asked me to sit with him in the living room as he needed to talk. From his expression, he looked a little sad, so I did hope he was going to apologize for how he behaved after hearing about my promotion, but oh, how wrong I was. That piece of shit didn't even bother to say he felt sad, let alone sorry about what happened. When he opened his mouth, utter nonsense came out. He told me that he thought about what I said to him about choosing his pride or his marriage and that he thinks I was wrong in my point of view. He told me that he sure does love me, but love is not enough in a relationship, and he doesn't think that he can be with someone who isn't equal with him. What a load of BS. But that was not enough because he continued to tell me that I should give up the promotion because we were doing fine as we were and he likes our lives the way we lived so far. He said if I really want to move higher, I should wait a year or two because he'll be getting a hike very soon and then we both can celebrate equally. That's when all my bottled up emotions came tumbling out as anger. I told him that he's really a small person for saying he prefers a working wife as long as the wife isn't surpassing him. He was basically telling me to wait for him to do better so I could do better. This absolute shell of a man could not have gone any lower. I told him that I don't want to waste any more time on him. Every second I spent with him is a waste of my energy, and I'd use it to soar higher. I told him there's no point in trying to talk it out because it's clear our marriage would not work out. After that, I left the room and threw some of my essentials into a bag and walked out of the house. I told him I'd crash at a hotel or a friend's place for a while and will get my other stuff when he's not in the house. Now, I've been staying with one of my friends from college at least until I find a rental place. I'm keeping the thought of buying my own place on hold because now I have to deal with the divorce first. It's been almost 2 years since my last update here. I've been doing well now. My divorce was as messy as they come because I was determined to leave this man with as much damage as possible. At the end, it was a 60-40 split, and I ended up getting the most assets as I wasn't entitled to alimony from my husband. Either way, he was burned badly. His pride was hurt, and in the last few visits to the court, I could actually see how this has affected his health. He was looking shabby, to put it nicely. Finally, that man is out of my life, and I could live a happy life. I bought myself A three-bedroom house where I live with my sister now. She needed a place to crash after she found work in the same city as me, and I offered to live with her. And with the amount of time I have on my hands, and now because of not working overtime, I am also able to go out and date. My life is actually better than I thought it would be after such a messy marriage. Hopefully, it stays going uphill. NTA, the man really thought he'd asked the OP to hold off on getting a promotion until he gets one. What a joke. I'm glad you decided to move out and leave him. You deserve someone who would push you to be better, not hold you back. NTA, you do not have to think about the feelings of such a pathetic person. You did nothing wrong in giving him an ultimatum. He got what he deserved, and good on you for not being timid and seeing clearly through this crap. I, 37, male, Canadian. A few months back, I lost my twin brother to a drunk driver. He was the older twin, and despite the fact we looked the same, we were very different. He could do no wrong in our parents' eyes, even when he was drinking, using drugs, and stealing. I, however, could do nothing correctly and was even blamed for everything bad he did. He stole money from a church, and it was my fault because I didn't support him enough, type of deal. I honestly had a very long post typed out that went into more detail, but I just am going to go with the TLDR version. Because of my parents always placing the blame on me for what my brother did, I joined the army and moved away at 19. I was 31 before anyone in my family ever returned any of my Facebook messages or text messages. I didn't send many, but I did make the first step, normally before I deployed. We finally put our past behind us and reconnected. I met his wife and 4 kids. They are awesome. We talked about getting our parents to move in with me, as at the time I was single and had the room for them and could easily support them financially. My dad lost his job, his health was declining, and our old family house was falling apart. They didn't want to move and came up with BS reasons not to do it all the time. I am now married with 2 kids and have a nice house in Manitoba with a fair amount of land. With my brother's passing, his wife has no family to look to for support. My parents only have me left. I have offered to cover the expenses and move them all out to Manitoba. My parents can stay in my camper. It's a very nice camper, 44 feet, better than most apartments. My sister-in-law and the kids can stay in our basement that is fully furnished and has the space till they can get their own place. She's a nurse, like my wife, and my wife can get her some work. They want me to sell everything and move out to them. They live in Ottawa area. My sister-in-law has limited space with just them in their house, and my old family home doesn't even currently have a working furnace and looks like a crack house. They want me to use the money from selling my house to fix up the old family house, and everyone will move into that. I told my parents and sister-in-law I will not be selling my house and everything else to move to the Ottawa area. The cost of living is close to 4 times higher there than where I am. I have the means to support everyone where I am till everyone is settled into the new area. I do not have the same means to do so there. It's been a week now and no one has returned any means of communication with me. Wanted to take a second and say thank you to everyone. This has helped me a lot. There are some really good povs in here. I hadn't considered at the time of writing this. I do want to help them because they are family, but I'm not willing to risk hurting my family for people I'd honestly consider extended family. That may sound bad, but my wife and kids have given me more support than my own parents. So wife and kids come first. Wow, that's some choosing beggars stuff here. Definitely NTA for refusing to sell your home and move to a new province with a significantly higher COL. YTA to yourself, though, for continue to allow your toxic family to take advantage of you like this. I totally get it, though, family and all, and the desire for them to care about you the way you should be. But don't set yourself on fire to keep other people warm. NTA, they treated you badly, but now they need help. They expect you to abandon your life and do what they want. You made a generous offer and they turned it down. Forget about them. If on the off chance you do still want to help, the very least I do is say you will pay for your parents' house to be modernized on condition they sign the deed over to you, not say they'll leave it to you in their will or something. You get ownership before handing over the money. Otherwise, they will take all your money and then leave the house to sister in law because she needs it more. I, 21-year-old female, adopted a Rottweiler about a year ago. The topic about Rottweilers can be very controversial for some, I know that. I live alone and like to go on night walks around 11 p.m. to 3 a.m. I picked out a dog that I knew people would be intimidated by and would deter someone if they wanted to harm me on my walks or break into my home. As a puppy, I had the dog trained. My dog has never hurt anyone. He doesn't bark at people and never jumps on someone if he's excited. He just sits next to me without moving a muscle. I also have a very short leash, so he can't walk in front of me, and just for extra safety, I have a muzzle on him. Usually, I just take him on night walks. This has never been an issue since nobody is out. Yesterday, I decided to go on a little walk during the day since I had to wake up super early today. Of course, I took my dog with me to get him out. Well, a couple of people in the neighborhood had a problem with it because of his breed. Kids were out playing, and the parents saw him as a threat. During our walk, he did not bark at anyone. He was leashed, and for the most part, I tried to avoid people because I know some are afraid of Rottweilers. One of the neighbors walked up to me and told me that I have to refrain taking him out on walks because he is a threat and could harm a child. I said that his children should not be in fear when playing outside. I told him that my dog had not barked at anyone. He's wearing a muzzle and he's next to me. During the whole conversation, my dog sat next to me without moving a muscle, while this guy basically yelled at me, telling me he's scared of my dog. It ended with me saying that I refuse not to take my dog out just because someone is scared of my dog. They could simply not come near him and all will be well. I left and he yelled at me and called me a bitch, then proceeded to call the cops. I told the officer exactly what I told him. They can't keep me from walking my dog, so there was nothing they could really do. Now I just get stares. I understand the controversy with Rottweilers, so AITA, for refusing to not walk my dog around my neighborhood just because people are scared of him. Thank you to all the people who have responded. I decided to take Draco on day walks a lot more. He seems to enjoy it, and like a lot of people have pointed out, I'm not doing anything wrong. He's a sweet boy and well trained. To those who have pointed out that the muzzle, non-English speaker, so I apologize, I got the word wrong on the post, adds to the fear because it makes him look more intimidating, I will be removing the muzzle. I thought it was extra precaution. Now I know it's dumb. Draco is a good boy and would not hurt a fly. NTA, as a pit bull owner, I empathize. People can take their prejudices and shove them. Dogs are dogs, and yours sounds well behaved. Be a good example and show people that Roddies are good dogs by taking him on appropriate walks whenever you like. NTA, let 'em stare. Unless they're paying your bills, pay them no mind. You sound like a great owner. You could consider not muzzling since those tend to convey dangerous dog. And if your pup doesn't need one, it could help with image management. But you sure don't have to, and it's not your job to make people feel better about the literal world around them. NTA, you are a victim of most dogs being piss poorly trained. For many, a well trained dog like yours is intimidating because we are used to big dogs being a handful. It's like well trained dogs are a cold, calculating menace to many people. You know what I mean? You did nothing wrong. Walk your dog.